We have a jam-packed interview today. Everybody say, "What's up, guys?" to Kyland, circle message to Ed, and oiled up on a stationary bike, hello to Horacio.
What's going on? Thank you for having us, guys.
What's up?
Horacio, you're never living that down, are you, man? I mean, it's a great moment to have, honestly. If that was me, I would just have it taped to the side of my car so people knew that was me. You know what I mean?
On a loop.
Oh,
a loop behind my bed.
Yeah.
You know, just to make sure everybody sees it.
Showing everybody the video.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like, that's me. You guys don't believe it? That's me. That's me.
Nerese walks around with the video, actually.
Yeah.
I would. Absolutely. That'd be my profile picture. That'd be everything.
I would call Apple and be like, how can I get that to be like the rotating, like a GIF just on my screensaver all the time, right? People be like, whose phone is it? Oh, I got it.
Yep. That's a good idea. Oh.
We have 3 heavy hitters with us today. As Stephen said before we started, this is our first 5-way, so please be gentle. I have my first question that honestly has been on the top of mind since the very first episode, and it goes to you, Kylan. Why are you always wearing the orange top? I don't understand it. The gray is so much better. Everybody else got that memo. Did you miss the phone call? What happened here?
Well, in addition to, the bottom line is, my mom's favorite color is orange. So I just was like, hey, why not?
That's sweet and
Mom's a big
sentimental.
inspiration to me. Yeah. Mom's a big inspiration, so super supportive. And so just another way to have her with me.
Got it. I thought maybe like the other one was a little smelly, and you don't want to be smelly. At the same time, you're competing. You got people after you, but we got to get the smelly guy out of here. You know what I mean? Just like trying to avoid that as best as possible. So what's the other one? Now I'll just follow up here, Kylan, since we're already talking to you. In the last episode we just watched, you told Berna that you told her to be quiet and not to shut up. So. What's the difference? Because apparently there's a difference, and I don't know what the difference is, and maybe it's just the way it's presented, but I was like, oh my God, is this a new thing that I don't know of about this point?
I mean, I think it's the same effect, but different tones. Like, I feel like I feel like I've talked a lot about being on the spectrum, and there's some social cues and stuff, and so I learn everything very hands-on experience. Like, it's not through I learned through trial and error, and I've just learned like, oh, when you say some things, it makes people feel sad. I guess sometimes people get emotional, and I don't really feel that as much. So I'm just like, okay, let me try and pay attention to things that I say at times, and those are different. I'm a fairly literal person, and so the effect is the same, but the words are supposed to be different, and one's supposed to be more respectful and considerate, and I went on to say, like, I was like, you know what, I'm calling this out because a lot of times you have an opportunity, and so much respect, so much grace for all the people English as a second language coming in to play a game like this. That's not true. Understanding, and I gave credit to that multiple times. But then at a certain point, you're like, oh, I don't think this is a language difference if she's continuing to choose the more abrasive, rude response. And then whenever somebody has an issue with her, you see her best friends coming up and saying, like, we know that she does this. But, and I'm like, well, if when you're her friend, then say something about it. And they didn't. And it got to a point where I was like, all right, I guess it'll be me. I have time today. I had time that night. So I just was like, all right.
We all have that friend though, right? That like, you have to be like, hey, sorry about that. But that, sorry about so-and-so over there. They're just,
but that's the thing. You got to say that.
Yeah.
That's fair. That is fair. That's also very Berna, from the little bit we've seen of her this season. That's just very Berna.
Very Berna.
If there's somebody that's always on brand, it's her, She's pulling up the shorts, trying to get our ass of the week winner each week. And, that's just what it is. Did any of you guys think, listen, I'm always looking for an advantage. Maybe this will help. Maybe I should try it out in a daily. Did any of you give it a whirl?
Oh, I was trying the shorts up the ass method to see if it threw anybody off. Could have. I got a hairy ass. That would have been not good to see.
That's actually why Berna sabotaged him. She saw his ass hanging out, and she's like, "Nope." She messed with his rope that last one.
Yeah.
She's like, "No, just one here."
I wouldn't put it past her.
Why is that a thing? Why she keep doing that? I didn't understand. It just looked like uncomfortable. Like I hate when I got a wedgie. I gotta like
Exactly.
Well, she said she did it because she was a dancer, but I didn't see Emmanuel doing it.
I know a lot of dancers. I have not seen that. I was just like, when you said that, I was like, that's not an explanation at all.
Again, it's Berna. So, it kind of, ping pongs back and forth that way. It kind of makes sense.
Speaking of Ed's hairy ass, I wanted to talk about your hairstyle that kind of popped up randomly this season and then went away. I referred to it as, and I will give it to you now, bitch please. These are my bitch pleases. So I wanted to know why. Were you trying to be a Viking? Like, what was going on there? Because it was a fashion statement.
Those were my Viking braids.
Got it.
Got it.
That's what that was. So a couple years ago, I was watching this Viking show. I'm like, yo, I want hair like that. I could be a Viking. That could be me. So I started growing it out, and now it's long enough where I can do cool Viking braids. So I'm gonna do it.
I love it. Did anybody help you with those braids, or was that 100% you?
I think that was Big T and Melissa that did those braids.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out. They were well done. I'm not lying to you. I loved it. Every time I was like, he's got his bitch pleases out. He's ready to rumble.
Yeah, I feel like it was a really cool warrior look. Some people thought it looked dumb. I guess they're just,
They're
not
incorrect.
in tune with the Viking theme.
Exactly. Yeah, they're incorrect. Send us their names, and we will take care of them as such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they gotta get with it because it's cool. I know it's cool.
Well, speaking of you being cool, you were on one of my favorite shows, The Circle, and nobody else from this show is from that show. Did you feel like that was an advantage or a disadvantage to have a show that nobody else was on coming into the last season you were on and this one?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I feel like it didn't really help much because they are completely different shows. Like this one, you're jumping off of cliffs and doing action movie stuff. The other one, I was just sitting in a room trying to like pretend to be as cool as possible. Like it was night and day. It was complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So.
Well, you didn't have anybody that you were connected with. Like Big Brother has all their Big Brother people, right? And you're kind of stuck with them to a certain extent. Kylan's saying no.
There was no Big Brother people. I was the only Big Brother person.
Well, I'm saying like generally speaking on the challenge, they tend to be Survivor,
fair,
Big
yes,
Brother.
generally speaking, yes.
Yeah. So was it hard to get into alliances because of that? Or was it easy because you were kind of a lone wolf?
I feel like I'm very easy to like get along with. And my thing is like, I don't like trying to start alliances and stuff beforehand. Like I know a lot of people do that. Like all the Survivor people be like, oh, let's team up before this next season. But like, I just go there, make friends. Like I'm cool with who I'm cool with and you see how it goes. So I feel like the whole, not coming from a different show, I don't think it really hurts me. I'd rather people, show up, meet Ed for who he is, base your judgments then and there, and then decide. I feel like it gets kind of messy and weird when you try and plan too far ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Viking that you are, everybody needed to see that for themselves.
Yeah. then they see it, they go, oh, we gotta be down with that Viking guy. I guess that's the same question for you, Horacio and Kyland is, the game's kind of evolved in a way to where you almost have to play an off season of the show, right? You're like kind of like, are you going? Are you not going? Are you going? Are we gonna do this? How does that kind of like, do you enjoy that part? Do you feel like you kind of have to do that? Or is it just kind of show up, see how things kind of start shaking out at the beginning? Because there's basically, as we did this season, there's almost 3 different phases of the game, right? So do you feel like you have to start before the show now, then like kind of what Ed just said there? Is it advantageous one way or the other?
Well, me personally, yeah, I don't care to do the whole pre-show. Like, hey, are you going? Are you going? Like, I don't care about it because I don't care to make alliances. I don't care to cut deals or anything like that. Obviously, if my closest people are going to go, then I would love to know that. because usually they come and tell me because they're gonna ask me if I'm going. But for example, this season for 39, I wasn't gonna go. I was gonna do something else. And so when Olivia reached out, I was like, no, I'm not going. And then I finally made the decision, probably maybe a week prior to departure. So I didn't care about who was going or anything. I just think it makes the game so messy, just like what Ed said. And it hurts it's tough actually, because I had only done Ride or Dies, and going into 39, once I was there, we have Jay, we have Michelle, we have Mariah, Colleen, Olivia, Nerys, Chauncey, like all these people from Ride or Dies, Raven, and you kind of feel an obligation to be with them, right? You have an obligation to play the game with them because you just played last season with them in a sense. And I don't like that. I don't like that once you start building connections, people feel like you owe them something. So, even going forward, if I do get a call to go in the future seasons, whatever the case may be, I don't even know how I would, it's going to be even harder because I just built more relationships this season. So I don't care about the whole pregame. I just think it makes the game more difficult. Let's just play once we're there. You're going to get to know me. If you like me, great. And if you don't, cool, even better. And that's how I kind of see it.
That's totally fair.
I feel like you're asking that question, I feel like, to probably the three wrong people, because we are all people who like to just show up that way and play the game and play. Like, even when Ed, Ed, when he was making his decision in the game, you could tell, at no point was like, oh, I guess Ed's like a shitty person. I was like, Ed is not being Ed right now. You could tell that Ed was just not being Ed. And so I feel like there is something to that mentality of hey, I want my results speak for itself. I want to build alliances based on skill and based on trust and loyalty and all these things that kind of come in the moment. I come from a unique position that I was that somebody else pointed out to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. I was the only person that never played with a single other person in the house. Every single person had played some season with someone else at some point. And so that it is a weird part of the game. And you are trying to figure out the relationships as you go. But I'm also, I feel like it's just not something that I think, is going to be overall how I want to approach the game. But I'm also kind of distracted right now because I'm like, is Horacio Batman? Or and I just never knew it all this time with this shade covering. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did we not see it this whole time? We should have known.
It does look like Batman.
I think a lot of us knew. We watched him perform. We kind of get it, right?
He could be.
It makes sense. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that.
Wow, you guys gotta keep it on the DL.
Good God.
Sorry.
Gonna show up here and burn this computer that I'm recording on right now.
Well, Horacio, I wanted to ask you, you've been out now how many days? Because you probably haven't seen any of this season yet, have you?
Exactly. Yeah, I've been out for, I think, maybe about a week. And so I've watched, I think, maybe 6 episodes, 5 or 6 of them. So I haven't watched a whole lot of it. And that's why sometimes people are talking about things, or even when I'm with Nerys and she's telling me things, I'm like, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen what they said about me or anything. So it's been a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a lot. I'm usually also away from my phone. I'm not a person that likes to be on his phone so much. So now having to be watching the episodes and be reading comments and messages from people and all this, it's been a little overwhelming. But I think little by little, I'll get to see the entire season and see I guess everybody's real version, because right now all I'm talking about is based on what I lived, not on what they showed on the episodes.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I wanted to pivot to, because there's a lot that happened in specifically ITMs with your Ride or Die, and I know that there's a lot happening on Twitter and all of that stuff. So I wanted to ask you about it, but I also just feel like you don't really know because you haven't seen it. You kind of got to watch it all for yourself and sort of understand it as a whole from there, because you also didn't go to the reunion, right?
Right. Yeah, I wasn't part of that. I wasn't part of anything. Didn't have my phone for the last 4 months. My brother was the one running my social media and all that stuff. So I have no clue. Obviously, like I said, Nerys is kind of threw things at me like, oh, this is what's going on, and this is Twitter, and I'm like, first off, I don't even have Twitter. Hold on, like, what the heck's going on? So it's been a lot. But at the end of the day, it's also kind of been very positive things from the people, from the fans towards me. They've been very positive. If the cast members are not positive, then I guess that's their problem. But other than that, I think it's been nice. But like I said, slowly but surely, I'll catch up with everything.
I'm sure Neree stood up for you at the reunion. I can only imagine that she had some words.
Oh, I'm sure she did. And I try to tell her, hey, I need you to be calm. You don't have to go all out. But, that's her. And that's the reason why I love her, one of them. Because
TV, hey. If anything, it's good TV.
Have any of those messages since you got back been to Olivia, or is that kind of just like, we'll get there if I ever need to get there?
Have they been what? I'm sorry?
Have you spoken to her since you've been back? Has there been any texts or communications with Olivia just to be like, hey, what's good? How's it going? Any of that worked its way through in the past week to you?
No, not in the past week. I know that prior to me leaving those 4 months, so
oh God,
month and a half or so, that's when I reached out to her, and we kind of I called her just to make sure how she was feeling and going through it mentally and all these things, but it was just more like she kind of just check in. Right now we haven't spoke for a while, and I don't know what's next, to be honest, but right now we're kind of, she's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, and that's it.
That's totally fair. I also know, like, ride or dies, we've talked to a few other people. They kind of just put you with people at sometimes. And you were sort of stuck with them.
Oh.
So, I could understand. A lot of people think that those ride or die connections were maybe a little bit more than they actually were. But, that's that's show business, baby.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, even I've mentioned it so many times how her and I, we've been a more special connect or bond because of how things ended. Going out the way we did in that final, with her with that accident and being so close to winning in our rookie season, like so many things that really, made our relationship grow so much. And I thought it was stronger than ever. And then, come to realize that I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because I mean, even going back to your question, should you be doing a like alliances previous to going into the show? Like, no, because your alliance could turn at any point. And I guess if you don't have one, it doesn't hurt. So I guess simple as that. Why go in there with people when they're going to turn their back on you?
Absolutely. That totally makes sense. Well, we have one last question that is for all three of you that has been top of conversation for us and on Twitter and honestly with everyone. And don't worry, we give you two options. So you don't even have to come up with an option. You just say option 1 or option 2. Okay? All ready?
Oh, gosh.
What is a scared game? Steven.
Option 1. I'm not going to put any juice on this to try to influence you guys either way. So there'll be no juice. Putting in the same people each week, not taking chances at anybody bigger. We're just going to say the same names that are kind of lower and not take a shot at the bigger people that can beat you. That's option 1. Option 2, you put the strong people in because you don't want to see them at the final. We've heard both on this season. So that's why we're asking it, because I think some people definitely think of it one way. Some people think of it other. So we just want to get your guys' thoughts on the quote scared game, because that's been a thing for God knows how long.
The floor is yours.
Floor is yours. Ed,
don't everybody jump at once.
Wow, that's interesting. I feel like the epitome of a scared game is like when you mash the two together and you just try to keep sending the
Are you running for president, Ed?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. We saw it happen with these two, Kyland and Horacio, two of the greatest competitors. Like, I'm going to give them their cookies because they're good. And
absolutely,
everybody kept trying to send them down time after time after time. So it's like, Yeah, a scared game could be, I guess, you send the same people that are just easy to say again and again, or it could be you try and send the strong people down because you're scared shitless of them. I think we saw both happen where it's like, send these guys down. All right, we said it once, easy now. Say it again. Boom. So yeah, we saw it. We saw it.
We did. So your answer is option C, all of the above.
He's gone with all the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Running for
Kyland, you're
president.
deep in thought. What are you thinking over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult for me to work in absolutes. So it's not even a cop out. It's just I think there's multiple variabilities, but I think one of the biggest one is who is the player that we're talking about, because I think the three of us don't know, like we feel pretty well-rounded, pretty competitive. So I feel like if you're asking someone else that is worried about running against certain people in a final, then that's a whole different game. They have to play a whole different game. And, I mean, going back to even to any season, I'm always like, hey, a scared move isn't a dumb move necessarily. If it's like a scared move, because like that's what I said to Corey afterwards. I was like, yo, it's scared. But afterwards, I was like, I didn't say it was dumb, because you should be afraid of running against Horacio in a final. And so because you like a lot of people should. And so it's just like, I think that's what it comes down to is that. Yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts. Like what type of player you are, you have to play a different game.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It sounds like you might be in the same boat there, my friend.
So all three of you are going to run for president. I have a feeling that's where we're going to go with this.
Okay, wait. The only thing I wanted to say too, there's rumors about like a rival season coming up. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew I hate Horacio. Like I can't wait to punch him in the face.
Big brain.
I think he's one of the worst people that I've ever met. I hope I never see him again. And like, Ed too. Ed's a terrible person. And I just want everybody to know.
Quiet.
Yeah, everyone should know.
Be quiet. I'm not gonna say shut up. I'm gonna go a Kyland way. Be quiet. Be quiet.
That was absolutely fantastic. And listen, I get it. If I'm there, I don't want to see either of you in a final. No shot in hell.
Or Ed. Also, I feel like Ed is getting a short stick here. I thought you were making it to the final, Ed. I really did.
Yeah.
All my money was on it.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Once I was out, I feel like everybody was very relieved. I feel like they were like, oh, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I think
the most relieved people were all of his alliance. That's the worst part of it. The most relieved people was everyone in his alliance.
Yeah.
I think your quote last week was, people are starting to see me as an absolute weapon of a human being. And I was like, what a great fucking line, Ed.
I see no lies in that statement
I am
either.
a weapon.
A Viking.
For Valhalla.
All right, Horacio, you get to answer now.
Oh, I get to answer. Okay. Well, I guess I have to run for president as well. I agree with what both Ed and Kyland have said. I think to add to everything that they have said, you're playing a scared game when you give your word to somebody and then you don't end up like fulfilling that word, because I think that to me is a scary game. If you're gonna keep repeating the same name, I get it. That's sometimes, just like Kyland said, that's sometimes a smart move, because you don't want to show your cards immediately. Everybody, you could claim that's a scared game, not showing your cards, but no, that's being smart. Because if I go out and first week and if I'm against Ed, and I say the rest of the season is gonna be a tough one for me, because and I think that's very just to hold off your cards and wait till the right moment. And so I don't think that's necessarily scared. And then the other scenario where you don't want to run against people, once again, that's smart. Everybody has their own thought process. I remember I had a conversation with Ed, and I don't think it was aired. And Ed, I know I'm not lying, when we kind of just talked about it, we didn't talk about like, oh, we're going to be on the same side or anything, but we had that mutual respect of like, we want to run against the best in the end, and I know us three are those type of people. Like, I don't care if Jordan's there, I don't care if CT's there, if Bananas, all these great competitors are there. I want to run against them, because that's the only way I'm going to get better. And I think the victory is only going to be sweeter if I get to beat all those guys. You know what I mean? So
understand that completely. I'm the opposite way because I just want money and I don't care how I get it. So I'd be like, bring on the weak people. I don't want to figure anybody. I want the easiest path. Give me the money. This will change my life. But for somebody like you guys, I get it. Like that's in your blood. Like, listen, I just want the easiest way to scratching off that lottery and making money. You know, I'm putting the same 10 bets out on roulette every single time. I want the easy money, baby. You know, but I get it. I totally get it 100%. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for spending some time with us here on the number one. We really appreciate it. We hope to see all you guys in the future. And then very quickly, if we know they listen to this podcast, anything you want to try to influence for the next couple seasons? Kyland already did a great job for a potential rival season. Ed, anything you want to train, any rule changes you want to, what's up, MTV, EMN, let them know.
Oh, any rule changes? No more of that team shit. I don't like when we're in big teams of 6, 8, 10 people. That's whack. Get rid of that.
Spitting
That's
bars.
some ideas. Horacio, you they're not listening. What do you want?
I'm in. Yeah, no more teams doing. Let's bring all the champs, all these finalists. Let's bring all the best of the best, and let's go at it. That's what I'm thinking.
So you want 40
we love it.
next year. That's what you want. All right. Let it be known that they want 40 people next year. And that's what we'll
40 for
all right.
40.
40 for 40. Yeah, we'll just do the same format. A purge each week and 2 people go home at the end of the episode.
I love it.
Fly through those episodes. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Good luck in the future, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Guys.
Thank you.